basically just risk management, you know. Like I see a lot of people do really well, like do really well on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday they give away all the gains they made the entire week, right? You really, the one thing that will destroy you in the market is if you don't have like a proper risk management strategy, like if you don't have a proper stop loss, right? A lot of people will get into a position. Yeah, exactly, virus. Like a lot of people will get into positions and just sit there and say, oh, okay, I'm down $100. Okay, it's gonna come back, right? Okay, now I'm down 200, but like what's the plan here? Okay, now I'm down 500. Now it's too late, right? That's the one thing that will destroy you in the market. I promise you, and I make this promise all the time, especially around this community, especially around the people that you are around. I promise you, you're gonna make money, right? The problem is that the problem will never be can you make monies. You're gonna make monies because I think we have the right education, the right people. We focus around. We're usually playing with the right ideas, right? We usually look at the right stocks, right? So you're gonna make money. Like you will make money, right? That's not the problem. The problem is if you're making money and you're giving the money back, right? Which is what most people do. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, like I only make $10 a day, so then I blew my account." Right? I've heard people say though, like I got into a position and I stayed in that position. I stayed in that position for so long that like my account got to zero, right? Or now I'm screwed, right? I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, I keep taking $100 losses, $50 losses, and then I blew my account." Right? I've never heard that. Maybe you have. Maybe you've experienced it. I just haven't, right? So you really need to find a way to focus on, okay, like what's my stop loss on this play? I'm buying this position because of this and this. So if this is no longer valid, I need to get out of that position, right? My maximum loss on a play is $100. It's $200. It's this, right? So if we go below this level, I'm done with this position. Alrighty? Like we really, 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 really need to do that. Please, right? Protect your monies. No one's gonna protect your money as well as you do. So please, 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 please do a better job of protecting your monies. When you go into a position, please have a plan. Risk management is really important. Don't just get in there and then start praying because you're going to end up in the abyss, right? SB said it took me a while to learn, to control my emotions, right? And that's the hardest thing to learn and manage. Absolutely, right? 20% for the day, beat your goal. Well done, Tegi. Love it, right? So again, please, please protect your money because again, especially around this community, you're gonna make money. You just have to find a way to protect it when you're not right. You know what I mean? I think people put too much effort into, not the effort isn't the right word. I think people give themselves too much credit. Like you think you're better than you actually are, right? You have to understand that you don't control the market, right? You don't run the market. Your grandma doesn't run the markets. Your grandpa isn't a janitor at any of these companies. Like you have no influence for the most part, right? You're not a market maker. You don't have unlimited funds, right? Like give yourself room to be wrong. When you're wrong, just accept that, okay, you know what, I was wrong on this decision. I'm not the greatest of all time. Out of 10 trades, maybe I'm going to make 3 mistakes, right? But that's fine because those 7 trades are going to take me to the moon, right? So like be okay with that. Be okay with being wrong a few times and then cutting the loss when you are wrong. Please. Pretty please. Pinky promise, everybody. Same page. Deal. So it looks like STI is pushing back up there. So this one's actually creating some really nice higher lows, and then GV is trying to curl. Yeah, and that's the thing, right, Benjamin? That's another thing. Like people will cut the gains like so quickly, but then when it comes to the losses, it's like no, no. Who the hell do you think I am? You think I'm gonna take a loss? You think I'm gonna take a loss? No, right? So yeah, Patricia, absolutely. I think we all do, we all do. Again, humans are programmed, like if you think about it, right? Think about like most of your life, right? Like you come into the market having lived like, like at the very least like 20 years of your life. being conditioned to not want to lose anything, right? If someone takes your food away from you, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fight them, right? If you're eating ice cream and you drop it, anger, pissed, right? As a baby, like if someone takes away your toy, what's the reaction? You're crying about it, right? So you're living most of your life being conditioned to not lose anything, right? And now you get to the stock market, and the stock market is like, well, I need you to be okay to lose. Like the one thing that I need from you is that you have to be okay to lose, right? There's a reason why the one of the best stock market books is called The Best Loser Wins, right? Why is there a book like that? Because you have to be okay like with the losing side of it. If you're in a trade and you realize that, oh, I made a mistake, get the hell out of it, right? You're wrong. You're not a magician. Like don't think like you're that good. Like you're not a magician. Like get out of it, right? And sometimes you get out of the position and then it runs and then you're like, dang it, see, I knew it. I knew it. Every time I sell the damn stock, it cooks without me. That's not the problem. The problem is when you hold the one stock that doesn't do that, like Mullen, like AMC. Guess what? You're done. It only takes one to destroy you, right? There are a whole bunch of people now that are working at McDonald's. I'm kidding. I don't know that, right? But I bet you there are a whole bunch of people that the accounts went to zero because they kept buying Mullen because they were wrong and they're like, you know what? No, Mama didn't raise no B. AMC, it's gonna squeeze eventually, right? Okay, sure. Right? Where are we at now? Right? Blown accounts, right? So again, you have to like you have it's not about like selling a stock and then it runs without you. It's about protecting your money, right? And when you sell the stock and it runs without you, you have to look at yourself and look in the mirror and say, you know what, my entry was rubbish. My entry was ASHIT, absolute rubbish. That's how you spell rubbish, by the way, right? My entry was rubbish, so I need to look in the mirror and learn how to get proper entries, right? It's not about sitting there and crying and saying, oh my goodness, I sell the stock and it runs without me every time. I buy the top and sell the bottoms. No, that's not it, right? So again, the market needs you to be okay with losing, right? You need to change that mindset. Like again, we've been conditioned for a long time to not want to lose anything because it brings pain. Doesn't work like that in the market. You have to be okay with the losing. Exactly, Tank. Exactly. Right? Exactly. You can win 60% at the time and lose 40% at the time and still win. That's the goal, right? You can be at 50-50 and still win, right? 50-50 and still win. So we again we like cut those losers, right? You just have to improve your entries at that point. If you're noticing you're taking a lot of losing trades, just improve your entries. Right? I mean, I make it seem easy, but it's not that easy, right? But that's what you have to do. All I do is win, no matter what, right? Yeah. So please protect your money. I've been here, getting there just straight when I see a good opportunity. Absolutely, Diaz. Absolutely. Right. So yep, your mindset towards the market is really important. Really important, guys. The reason I bring that up, as much as we joke around and have fun, the reason I bring that up is because again, you see too many people making the same mistake, right? Too many people making the same mistake. Um, So protect your money, please. Protect. Right? I know that we have a set of rules that we go over every so often, right? And number eight of like again this the number eight of the rule book is cutting losses, right? If a trade doesn't feel right, why should you stay? Why should you hold on to the position, right? It's important to have a stop loss in place to ensure you don't lose more than you can afford to, right? Most traders are unable to cut a loss and allow the trade to control them and their emotions without realizing it, right? If you must be fluid in your approach to each trade. If one doesn't work, simply move on and reset, right? And then it brings up the point of not immediately jumping into another position without understanding why the last trade didn't work out, right? Losses are a part of trading. It's important to never let one loss affect your mental capability and again, moving on, right? So please protect your monies. Protect your monies, Alrighty, you're not as good as you think you are. I mean, in some cases you are. You know, uh, right? Number nine, have a plan and follow the plan. It's important to have a plan before you enter a trade, right? And again, this goes back to why am I getting into that position? Where's my stop loss? What's my potential profit target, right? Again, the profit target is not necessarily the most important thing to me. The most important thing to me is you realize that, okay, I have a banana, right? I have a banana. Yes, of course, I want to eat two bananas for the day, Like I have a slice of pizza, right? It would be nice for me to eat like five slices of pizza, right? But you know what? For the sake of longevity, for the sake of, of like just surviving, for the sake of living to trade another day, how about like my main job when I show up is to protect the money that I have today, right? How about I protect the money that I have like right now? Wait a minute. Two bananas? No, that like protect what you have before you look into the future, right? If I give you breakfast right now, right? If I give you breakfast, I'm like, hey, can you eat this meal? You don't sit there and say, okay, you know what, let me save this meal and then I'm gonna save it so I have lunch and dinner and then I'm gonna eat all of it at the same time, right? That's what happens. When you show up to the market and you have monies, you have something, right? Don't sit there and say, oh, but I'm gonna save this. Anyways, hopefully that makes a bit of sense already. Just does it work with apples? Yes, it works with all the fruits, Alan. All the fruits. Uh, it works with all the fruits. Um, right? And then rule number five. I know these are kind of scattered all over the place. Rule number five is, protect your money. Again, it's the same thing. Like we have so many rules that go back to you protecting your money, right? How much are you willing to risk in a specific trade, right? We talked about rule number nine already. We can go back to rule number one, right? So you want to treat trading like you would any other business, right? So respect your cash. I mean, like rule number one goes back to again protecting your money, right? Rule number two: never average down on a losing position. We've talked about this already, right? If you're in a horrible trade, don't go and say, oh, I want to add to the position, unless you're adding to that position because you understand that, okay, I'm adding to this position and I'm going to cut this entire position if this happens, then that's okay, right? You never want to get in the habit of like, okay, I'm in a trade, I'm going to keep adding to that position. That's what happens with AMC and Mullen, right? You're in a trade and you're like, oh, I'm going to keep adding to this position, just because I'm hoping and praying that if I can bring my average down low enough, it's going to eventually come back up. Don't do that, because more often than not, it takes you to the abyss. Like I said, the one exception to this rule is if you're holding a position and you're clearly looking at the technicals and you're like, okay, you know what? I bought this thing at the wrong time. Now it's sitting at the bottom. I can clearly see that it's support. I'm gonna add to my position. That's fine, right? As long as you have a stop loss below. Alrighty. Never have a bias, blah 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 blah, right? You know, whichever way the market wants to go, don't just don't have a bias is what that's saying, right? Always take profits on the way up, right? This is where like the breakfast, lunch, and dinner analogy comes into play, right? Take your monies on the way up, scale out on the way up, right? Always stay grounded. Never and this is a really important one because I see people do this all the time. They're like, okay, how come Grim is making $10,000 a day? How come they're doing that? How come Virus is always cooking? How come every time I look at Virus, he's making monies? How come it's taking me so long to get it, right? Every trader needs to learn how to respect their profits. Actually, yeah, so respect the profits. It doesn't matter if you make $100 or $100,000 a day. You need to learn to appreciate money regardless of the amount made in a day, right? So I just want to skip because I know what this is going to say. Again, so the bottom of this says everyone is on a singular journey towards improving themselves, right? You don't know what other traders have gone through to get to the level that they're currently at, right? So there's no reason to ever compare yourself to another trader. Alrighty. So again, you have to understand that like everyone is on their own singular journey, and it takes some people longer to get to where they need to get to, but you can't be comparing yourself to other people, because I promise you, virus has been through some violence, right? Some people in this chat that you see them, like making good monies, they've been through a lot of violence. Right? We've had some days, we've had some pains. um yeah, anyways, we've had some violence already. Canada interest rate cuts, they did that today. Yeah, are we surprised? Alrighty. CRVO. Okay, let's move on from all the educational stuff. CRVO. CRVO. Oof, that thing's cooking, isn't it? Cooking. 70%. I don't see a catalyst for this one, but that's a really nice run. Yeah. And around, but discipline over emotion. Exactly, virus. Exactly.